Sripada Shivallabha Charitamritam, Chapter 10. Description of the forms of Narasimha Swamy. I took the permission of Tirumala Das and continued my travel towards Kurvapuram. As I was recollecting the divine place of Sripada, a tingling thrill of horripilation overtook my body. On the way, I saw a holy Audumbara tree at a distance. This was midday. I was very hungry. I had to collect alms from a Brahmin village if it was nearby. I thought that I could take rest from the travel fatigue under the holy Audumbara tree. I noticed that someone was resting under the shade of the Audumbara tree. As I went further, I could see that person was wearing a holy thread. I came nearer to the Audumbari tree. That stranger cordially invited me and asked me to sit down. Compassion was oozing from his eyes. There was a basket before him. There was no foodstuffs in that. Only a copper vessel was there. He was chanting the name of Sripada Shivallabha frequently. I questioned him with eagerness. Sir, are you a devotee of the divine feet of Sripada? Have you seen that great holy person? Then he spoke. Sir, I was born in a noble Vaishya family. My name is Subbaya Shreshti. I lost my parents in my childhood. There were abundant heaps of money in my house. I was going to distant places and conducting many varieties of sales and purchases. I was frequently going to Kanchipuram. I developed intimacy with the prostitute by name Chintamani of that town. I spent a lot of money lavishly. A Brahmin by name Bilva Mangala of Palakkadu town in Kerala was also visiting Kanchipuram for the purposes of trade. He was selling fragrant materials to Arabs in exchange for diamonds and horses. Sometimes both of us used to joint trade activities. Kings and emperors were buying horses of high breed from us. Due to ill luck, both of us had fallen down from virtue due to our contact with the prostitute. For some time, the purchase and the sale transactions of both of us with the Arab people went on encouragingly. Afterwards, they took a lot of money from us, and instead of giving good horses, they handed us horses of very inferior quality. We lost heavily in the business. With the losses in business, our properties were also lost. My wife died with mental anguish. I had a son who was mentally unstable. He also met with untimely death. My boy, Sri Pitakapuram, which is having Padagaya Tirtha, which can also be called as the best one among the Tirthas, was my native place. On account of my ignorance, I was insulting deities and Brahmins. I was adopting cruel methods to collect repayment of loans. Once, large amount of relatives came from Ayanavalli village to the house of Appala Raja Sharma. Sri Appala Raja was not having sufficient money to arrange boarding and other facilities to all of them. If approached, Sri Shreshti would provide all the materials free of cost, as Sri Sharma was their family priest. Then it would become a donation, but Sri Appala Raja Sharma would not accept any donation. Under unavoidable circumstances, he took articles costing 1 varaha from my shop on credit. After the departure of relatives, I harassed Raja Sharma to repay the debt. Raja Sharma replied that he was not having any money with him and that he would definitely clear the debt as soon as money was available. I am an expert in collecting compound interest. Time was passing by. I added interest to interest and prepared bogus calculations. I demanded that Sharma should pay me 10 varahas in settlement of the dues. Raja Sharma should sell away his house if he had to pay that much amount. According to the rates prevailing at that time, I could overtake his house and pay 1 or 2 varahas in full satisfaction of the sale price. I was telling this before all the people. My resolve was to expropriate Raja Sharma of his house. Venkatappaya Shreshti, who noticed my ill intention, said, You wicked fellow, you are prattling as you are blinded by the arrogance of riches. When you insult our revered family priest, it tantamounts to dishonoring us. Unless you change your ways, you will be put to heavy loss. By harassing Raja Sharma, who is more pious than a blazing fire, you will fall into Raurava, that is a type of hell, and other kinds of hell. Once, Sripada was at the house of Venkatappaya Shreshti. I jeeringly said to Shreshti, if Raja Sharma could not repay my debt, he can send me one of his sons to serve in my shop, or he himself can serve there. One son is blind, the second one is lame, and the third one, Sripada, is aged just 3 years. Then how can my debt be cleared? The mind of Venkatappaya Shreshti was very much hurt. Tears were flowing from his eyes like a torrent. Sripada removed those tears with his divine hands. Grandfather, he said, why fear when I am here? I am the one who killed Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Will it be difficult for me to redeem the debt of Subbaya? Sripada looked towards me and said, I clear your debt. Come on, let us go to your shop. I serve in your shop and wipe out the debt due to you. After the clearance of the debt, Goddess Lakshmi will not reside in your house. Think carefully. Blinded by pride and very cruel by nature, I agreed for the proposal. Venkatappaya Shreshti carried Sripada on his shoulders and brought him to my shop and said, Subbaya, I will work in your shop in the place of Sripada. Do you agree? I agreed for it. In the meanwhile, an ascetic with coiled hair came to me and asked about the location of Subbaya Shreshti's shop. I told him that I was Subbaya Shreshti and that the shop near which we met was actually mine. Then he said, Sir, I want a copper vessel urgently, no matter even if the price is high. If you kindly give me the copper vessel immediately, I will go away taking it. I had 32 copper vessels, but I told him that I had only one copper vessel and that I would part with it if he could give me 10 varahas. He readily agreed, but he imposed one condition. Shri Sripada in the lap of Venkatappaya Shreshti should give the copper vessel with his own hands. Sripada agreed for that. The ascetic received the copper vessels from the hands of Sripada. Sripada was laughing. The ascetic wearing matted locks was also laughing. Sripada told the ascetic, Your wish is satisfied. Goddess Lakshmi will stay in your house undistributed. You give up this ascetic order and return to your home. Your wife and children are waiting for you. The sannyasi with the matted hair was full of happiness and left. I had a wish to put Venkatappaya Shreshti and Appala Raja Sharma to shame. My desire was fulfilled on that day. Proudly I said, Today, with the sale of copper vessel, I got plenty of money. I am of the view that the debt of 10 varahas, which Appala Raju Sharma owed to me, is repaid. Therefore, from this moment, Sripada is released from bondage. However, Sri Venkatappaya Shreshti wanted that the statement should be made by swearing on Goddess Gayatri as witness. As an unfortunate fellow, I swore like that. My boy Shankara, but even if a small piece of copper is received from Avadutas and Siddha Purushas as a token of their grace, the receiver would derive abundant wealth. What a great fortunate one was that ascetic. He received from Sripada, the new incarnation of Datta, a copper vessel in a gracious way. I was extremely unfortunate one. From that moment, the spark of Goddess Lakshmi glowing internally in my body, mind and soul started diminishing. The sportive plays of Sripada are unimaginable and unthinkable. Every word uttered in his presence would come true. When I had 32 copper vessels, I lied that I was having only one. Sripada turned my lie into a truth. When I checked my shop after the departure of Sri Venkatappaya Shreshti and Sripada, I found only one copper vessel instead of 31. I showed false accounts that I should get 10 varahas. By this sportive play, Sripada removed some misgivings of Appala Raju Sharma. Dawn and dusks are very sacred times. Worship of fire in the early morning Sandhya and in the evening Sandhya yields admirable results. In the early dawn, all the energies of Sun God are ready to prevail. During dusk, all the energies of Sun God retreat and join him. Then I said, Sir, I heard before that by accepting donation, the merit of punya would dwindle, but I heard only from you that non-acceptance of donation would result in sin. I could not understand this matter. Not only that, while telling that Sripada is an incarnation of Sri Dattatreya, it is also told differently that he is an incarnation of Narasimha and Shiva. I not at all understand this, how the nature of Anusuya exists internally in Shiva. Kindly explain in detail. Then Subbaya Shreshti said, You are hungry. Sri Vallabha often instructs his disciples to give good water for drinking, good food for eating, to anyone who comes to your house seeking food without considering the differences of race and caste. You take meals first. There is water tank nearby. Please come after cleansing yourself. In the meanwhile, I will bring 2 plantain leaves from the plantain trees seen yonder. Green cucumber with dal is the curry in the meals. It will be very tasty, like sweet elixir. I was astonished. There was nothing in the basket except the copper vessels. There was no foodstuffs, fruits, or vegetable roots. Above all, he was telling that preparation of cucumber dal would be available as a side dish in the meals. I thought that I would go to the tank and come back after washing my hands and feet without having regard for anything. Subbaya Shreshti went towards the plantain leaves. After washing myself, I came back from the tank. Subbaya Shreshti brought 2 plantain leaves. He collected leaves from the nearby palm trees and made small cups from them. I was seeing the strange happening with wonder. He closed his eyes and meditated for a while. After that, he poured water into 2 leafy cups from the copper vessel with him. Flow of water from the empty copper vessel was a wonder. From that vessel, he served the curry. Then he served food. Both of us had that sumptuous and very tasty food as a prasad. The copper vessel remained empty as before as we finished our meals. The fruits of worship of Lord Shiva during the evening, Sandhya, and Sripada as an embodiment of all deities. Saturn is a karmakara, that is, one who is responsible for the action. Among the planets, Rahu and Ketu are shadow planets. Rahu gives results like Saturn. Ketu gives results like Mars. Saturn, who is karmakara, is the son of Surya, a witness of all karmas. Therefore, even dusk of Saturday is powerful. Chaturthi, Trayodarshi are strong tithis, that is, lunar days, for Rahu. Hence, an individual who worships Shiva during the great sacred time of Shani Trayodashi during the evening Sandhya would be freed completely from the results of all the heinous crimes committed in the previous lives. Sri Sripada incarnated in the star Chitta, presided over by planet Mars. Therefore, if Sripada is worshipped during the time of the Chitta star, all afflictions of planet would abate. Planet Mars is the cause for wars, accidents, untimely deaths from weapons and missiles, leading a life with misery and indebtedness. Runa, that is death, means sin, and Aruna means that which is sinless. During the time of Chitta star or on Tuesday, Sri Sripada shines with crimson color. He would remain actually in the form of Arunachaleshwara on that day. Hence, worshipping Sripada Sri Vallabha particularly on that day, that is Tuesday, with Chitta star is very, very auspicious. Venkatappaya Shreshti, Narasimha Varma and Bapan Narya used to participate in the worship of Shiva during Saturday evening. Appala Raja Sharma also used to observe very strict spiritual discipline on that day. Akhanda Lakshmi Saubhagyavati Sumati Maharani was meditating upon the great aspect of Anasuya, which was indwelling in the form of Shiva. As a result of these great penances, the advent of Sri Pada took place. Sri Pada wanted to teach his father silently that on account of the above circumstances, it cannot be construed as a donation of any amount received from Sri Venkatappaya Shreshti, Sri Narasimha Varma, and Sri Bapannarya. He wanted to make it clear that on the other hand, it was a great sin not to accept money from them. Shankara Bhatt, Sripada is an embodiment of all deities. His nature is a magnificent one which transcends all the forms of deities. Those who saw, touched, and conversed with him are indeed fortunate. Subbaya Shreshti began to narrate the news that Sripada redeemed his father from death through this novel method spread like wildfire in Pitakapuram. Sripada was a lad of 3 years. Tears flowed from the eyes of Appalaraja Sharma incessantly. Sumati Maharani hugged her darling son to her bosom and remained for a very long time in a state of trance. Venkatappaya Shreshti, Narasimha Varma, and Sri Bapannarya came to the house of Raja Sharma. Sripada stated that it is the duty of a son to free his father from indebtedness. I was also invited to visit the house of Sri Raja Sharma. I announced in the presence of all elders who assembled there that the debt of Sri Raja Sharma was fully cleared. Raja Sharma did not agree for that. Raja Sharma questioned how his debt was repaid when some ascetic came and purchased a copper vessel by paying 10 varahas. Then an interesting discussion took place. Sri Bapannarya questioned Sripada, "Do you know the ascetic who with matted hair?" Then Sripada replied, "Not only that ascetic, I know about all the ascetics." The nature of Sripada. Bapannarya, you are a boy of 3 years. You are uttering words that are much beyond your age. Are you omniscient? Sripada, you all are thinking that my age is 3 years, but I am not thinking so. My age is many lakhs of years. I was in existence prior to this creation. I would continue even after the great pralaya, that is, final destruction of the world. I would be there during the activities of creation. Creation, sustenance, and liquidation would not take place without me. I observe all these as a witness. Bapannarya, Sripada, simply if a small child imagines that he is in the moon, it does not mean that he is actually in the moon. One must have direct experience. Omniscience, omnipotence, and omnipresence are the attributes of Lord of the universe only. Sripada, I am the primordial nature that steadily exists in all time and at all places. My existence reveals itself in accordance with those particular requirements. It does not simply imply that I am not in existence at a particular place merely because I do not reveal myself. I stay in the Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya kosas, that is, sheets of food, life, mind, wisdom, and bliss in the body. They carry on their functions only because of my presence. If I give you an experience that I dwell in a particular sheath, you will feel that I am in that kosa. However, it does not mean that I do not reside in those koshas simply because I do not give you an experience there. I pervade at all times and at all places. All kinds of knowledge and wisdom are at my footrest. All this creation formed at the mere will of mine. What is there to wonder if I am omnipotent? Appalaraja Sharma, my dear, you are an enigma for us since your childhood. You are repeatedly saying that you are Lord Datta. You are also declaring again and again that you would come in another incarnation under the name Narasimha Saraswati. People are like crows. They are commenting in various ways, terming your actions as histrionics, mentally imbalanced idiocy, and gullyful tricks. We are Brahmins. It is better that we observe the righteous acts prescribed for us. Going beyond that, if we proclaim that we are incarnations and divine personages, it would be considered as rank arrogance. Sripada. Father, I do not deny what you say. I must speak truth only, is it not? When the matter of my milk debt came up, I felt entertained. If I aver that I am not Lord Datta, at the time of the 5 elements testified, am I not guilty of speaking untruth? If one on seeing sun shining in the sky tells that he is not sun, will sun become someone else? Truth is conditioned by space and time. The Brahmins of Pitakapuram are experiencing human nature, feeling that they are living bodies and individuals. In the same manner, I am reminding you again and again that I am Datta, having the nature of omniscience, omnipresence, and omnipotence. Eons may pass on. Many worlds may undergo creation, sustenance, and annihilation. But how is it that I am who is Datta himself cannot be Datta? Bapanarya. Sripada, after the departure of the ascetic only, 1 copper vessel remained instead of 31. Have you played any trick and caused them to disappear? Sripada. Everything will happen due to some cause cropping up from time and fate. There is no possibility for any action to take place without a cause. There is a law in nature which cannot be violated. This Subbaya Shreshti was a priest of Datta in a forest region during his previous life. People rarely visit Datta in the forest regions. His lust for women took a mad turn. This person, who became infatuated with the desire of women, wanted to sell away the big copper statue of Datta worshipped by his ancestors from ancient times. He gave the money received from the same to his concubine. He told people that thieves stole the Datta image. The ascetic who came here was a goldsmith entangled in worldly affairs. In his previous birth, he was a goldsmith. Out of greed for money, he melted the statue of Datta. He is born in this life as a very poor man. As a priest served for many years to the image of Datta, he is born in this life in a wealthy family on account of that merit. The statue of Datta, which was melted in this previous life, was made into 32 copper vessels and sold out. The goldsmith was worshipping Lord Narasimha. He made these copper vessels in the presence of Lord Narasimha. Therefore, on account of the will of God, the essential attributes of 32 incarnations of Lord Narasimha entered into the copper vessels. The goldsmith, who had knowledge of his previous birth, worshipped me with undivided devotion. He prayed sincerely for the removal of his poverty. I appeared in his dream and asked him to come over to Pitakapuram. I asked him to receive a copper vessel from my hands, and from that he should pay 10 farahas to Shreshti, and thereby free me from my bondage. He did like that and became fortunate. I blessed that his financial problems may be solved in an unimaginable manner. He was moving the guise of an ascetic to avoid trouble from those who lent him money. Thus, it must be clear that I know everything about that ascetic. This Subbaya Shreshti wanted to collect irregularly 10 varahas from our family. I arranged 10 varahas to him, but to compensate it, I withdrew all the punya earned by him in his earlier life. You, Subbaya Shreshti, I know your amorous affair with Chintamani and all your vulgar and indecent acts. Your story will remain as a comedy in human history. You will live selling eatables carrying in a small wooden basket. You sell them to small children like me. My parents arranged meals to the relatives with the money received from you. I know better than you about the banya calculations. The money given by you was sufficient just to cook food, dal and cucumber. The hard-earned money of my father was enough to procure other materials. When you meet with the miserable state, when you cannot get even food, only water, rice, dal, and cucumber would be supplied from the copper vessel with you. Only that much food and stuff sufficient for you to eat and to serve any other would be available. Sripada spoke very strongly. The countenance of Sripada was formidable with divine brilliance. His eyes looked like two globes of fire. Then he said again, "You, Subbaya Shrishti, a buffalo would come to the southern gate of your house this night. That is a message sent by Yamadharma Raja that your death is very near. But I am showing you mercy. You feed that buffalo with rice, dal, and cucumber cooked with your own hands. That buffalo has only that wish. After eating, the buffalo would die instead of you. From that moment, you would receive intimation after intimation that you are becoming terribly impoverished. You take the basket and follow my instructions. When you come across a situation where you do not get even rice, this copper vessel helps you in the way. I show you mercy." Sripada spoke with stern voice. Then Venkatappaya Shrishti was frightened on seeing angry Sripada. Then Sripada said, "Tata, are you afraid?" It is a custom to call an elderly person as Tata in Andhra region. "I am actually Narasimha Murthy. Let there be no doubt. My nature is that of Sripada and Sri Vallabha. You are thinking that I will curse the Vaishya caste. You are agitated that I will curse all Vaishyas to become poor, just as Mother Vasavi cursed all her caste Vaishyas to have less beauty. Don't fear. God has no difference of caste and kind. In the same way, a devotee has no difference of caste and race. My relationship with Arya Vaishyas is very old. Is not Bapanarya Lavada Maharshi of old ages? I am granting you a boon. Even when the lineage of Lavada Maharshi in Vaishyas get extinct, I am blessing the family of Bapanarya till the end of Kali Yuga. I am giving a different kind of basket. The basket is full of datta sweetmeats. Even when you give those liberally, the stock of sweets will not diminish. This will not be visible to the naked eye. As all the 32 attributes of Narasimha are in me only, mine is the 33rd incarnation. Therefore, during the 33rd generation of your family, during the 33rd generation of Sri Bapanarya's family, and during the 33rd generation of Sri Vatsavai Narasimha's family, my padukas would be installed exactly at the place of my birth in the house of Sri Bapanarya, where I was born. This is my assurance to the families of Vatsavai, Maladi, and Sri Venkatappaya Shrishti. If any of your families adore the divine magnificent form of Sripada Sri Vallabha in any method of the traditional ninefold devotion, then the dogs of Datta would stand as sentinels to them in an invisible form. Vedas, Puranas, Upanishads, etc. in invisible forms and as invisible hounds constantly protect them. Then Venkatappaya Shrishti hugged Sripada to his bosom. Tears of joy were showering from their eyes. Sri Bapanarya was dumbfounded. Mother Sumati fell into doubt whether it was a dream or a divine illusion. Appala Raja Sharma's mind became mute. The true brothers of Sripada was looking at Sripada with awe. They were thinking whether he was their brother or Lord Datta. They wondered at the strange event. There was no limit to my stupidity, habit of ridiculing others. So I said, "Sripada, those propelling powers became wives when they assumed human forms. What else was it if it was not infatuation for women? It was a divine play in the case of incarnations. But in our case, it is an infatuation for women. What a partiality!" Sripada spoke thus. Sri Krishna had 8 wives and 16,000 gopikas. Still, he was a regular bachelor. He is not a womanizer as you think. It was not at all bodily relationship. They were all wives in the relationship of soul. The soul that was supported was wife, and the soul that supporting it was husband. What was there more than that? When Devendra was cursed to take human form, Sachi Devi was born as Draupadi. Devendra assumed 5 forms and was born as 5 Pandavas. Even though Draupadi was having 5 husbands, she enjoyed conjugal comfort only with Arjuna. Dharma is different, and nicety of Dharma is entirely different. Mother Kunti had no habit of going back on her word. Draupadi chose Arjuna only. Only Arjuna hit the fish in the contest. A virtuous life should have 6 attributes. Her figure should resemble Lakshmi. Draupadi was having abundant graciousness. She must have the patience of Mother Earth. Sahadeva knew all the events that were to take place in the future. He knew that the battle between Kauravas and Pandavas had to be fought. But before that, great events, many incidents had to occur. There were sorrowful incidents also among them. He was extremely vexed whenever he thought about them. Therefore, Draupadi was conducting herself with a lot of patience when dealing with Sahadeva. Bhima was a glutton. As he was consuming enormous quantities of food, he became very much indolent. Therefore, he was lazy even to do his own work. So Draupadi was behaving like a servant in her conduct with Bhima. Dharmaraja was the eldest amongst the Pandavas. Many political problems used to trouble his mind. So Draupadi was acting like a minister and was offering good advice. Nakula was an expert swordsman who was fighting with utmost speed. He was wielding the sword between 2 raindrops with such dexterity that it did not get wet in spite of the rain. Because of the strenuous practice connected with keen skill in martial arts, he was becoming extremely hungry. Draupadi used to prepare tasty food items and serve them to him. The preparations were giving satisfaction to his mind and were suited for his practice of battlecraft. Just as a mother would understand the preferences of her child and serve eatable virtues without him asking, Draupadi used to deal with Nakula. She was keeping Arjuna happy and providing conjugal bliss. In that, she was excelling Ramba in the art of sexual pleasure. Though she was having 5 husbands, she gave the comfort of bed only to Arjuna without breaking dharma. Subbaya Shreshti, your concubine Chintamani did not give sexual pleasure only to you. Bilva Mangala and others enjoyed her body too. When you visit Panakala Narasimha Swamy in Mangalagiri of Guntur region, you will come across Chintamani and Bilva Mangala there due to the causes of time and fate. You will bring them to Pitakapuram. Then I will preach you all about righteousness. Then Sri Narasimha Varma took Sripada into his lap. Sripada said to Sri Varma, Tata, tomorrow we will go in your horse carriage and visit our farmlands. Mother Earth there was praying for me eagerly from many days. Lord Sripada, will you not make me holy with the touch of your feet? You are having the title as Saptaha Parayana, that is, Savior of suffering humanity. Is it not? Then Sri Varma said, My child, Sripada, I have a small request. We are having our lands near Sri Pitakapuram. I want to form a village there and have the fields cultivated by those villagers. I want to give those lands to those villagers for a lower rate of lease. My opinion is to appoint you as a Karanam, that is, village officer, to supervise the affairs of that estate. We are not having the post of Karanam of Ironvilli now, is it not? Sripada laughingly said, Tata, you thought about your zamindari, but you did not think about my zamindari? This is not acceptable to me. First, you will ask me to work as that village official. In such a case, the history will record me as Gandhi Kota Sripada Sri Vallabha Raja Sharma was a mere Karanam of a particular village. But my officialdom will extend over the whole universe. I got my own accounts. Every day, crores of heaps of punya, diamonds, and ornaments are expended. The purpose of my incarnation is to move the kundalini of the universe. Villages, towns, and holy places also have kundalinis in the same way as individuals. This is a secret of yoga which can be understood only by those who knew the Sandra Sindhu Veda. The kundalini of Pitakapura can be shaken only in the 33rd generation of Bapannarya, Venkatappaya Shreshti and Vatsavaya family. Why hurry now? You make me the best use of every moment of this great sacred opportunity that is fortunately available to you. My dear Shankara Bhatt, Sri Narasimha Varma tried to keep Sripada in Pitakapuram permanently in this way. The glory of Sripada. Ignorance of a high degree was in me. As Sripada declared that he was verily Sri Krishna himself, I questioned out of ignorance in a jeering tone, Sripada, you are saying that you are Krishna. Then you are having 8 wives and 16,000 gopikas in this incarnation also. Then Sripada said with a smile, my 8-fold nature represents 8 wives. My incarnation is one with 16 comprehensive potencies. Every minute, powerful vibrations emanate in all 10 directions from this divine supreme soul called Sripada Sri Vallabha incarnation from my body and mind. In this manner, each minute for each potency from my body, mind and Atma natures, that is 10 into 10 into 10 equals 1000 vibrations get released. Like this, from 16 potencies, 16,000 pulsations emanate. All these are my 16,000 gopikas. In the previous incarnation, all of them took human form. In this incarnation, they remain formless but dynamic and vibrating. There is nothing wrong even if my various forms of divinity are worshipped. It amounts to worshipping me. One can adore my Shiva form, Vishnu form, or Brahma form. Likewise, one can worship the different forms of God within me. On the evolution of life, several kinds of spiritual practices, the different stages of progress of spiritual seekers, causes of time and actions show influence. Sripada explained thus. Narasimha Varma had a vision of 32 forms of Narasimha. They were Kundapada Narasimhamurti, Kopa Narasimhamurti, Divya Narasimhamurti, Brahmanda Narasimhamurti, Samudra Narasimhamurti, Vishwarupa Narasimhamurti, Veera Narasimhamurti, Krura Narasimhamurti, Bhibhasta Narasimhamurti, Raudra Narasimhamurti, Dhumra Narasimhamurti, Vani Narasimhamurti, Vyagra Narasimhamurti, Bidala Narasimhamurti, Bhima Narasimhamurti, Patala Narasimhamurti, Akasha Narasimhamurti, Vakra Narasimhamurti, Chakra Narasimhamurti, Shanka Narasimhamurti, Sattva Narasimhamurti, Adbhuta Narasimhamurti, Vega Narasimhamurti, Vidharana Narasimhamurti, Yogananda Narasimhamurti, Lakshmi Narasimhamurti, Bhadra Narasimhamurti, Raja Narasimhamurti, Vallabha Narasimhamurti. Later, he saw Sripada Sri Vallabha as 30th Narasimhamurti, incarnation of Sri Narasimha Saraswati as 31st Narasimhamurti, and Swami Samartha living in Sri Pragnapura as 32nd Narasimhamurti. The story of Srinivasa. My dear one, tomorrow is a very sacred day. It is the month of Kanya and the star of Shravanam. On Monday, during Dwadasi, in Siddha Yoga, Sri Venkateshwara emerged as an adorable form. In the year Vilambi, during Vaishaka Shuddha Saptami, he obtained monetary assistance from Kubera and executed a loan instrument. Sri Padmavati Devi was born in Mrigashira star and Srinivasa was born in Shravana star. The marriage of Srinivasa took place in the month of Vaishaka on Shuddha Dashami day in Uttara Palguni star. Lord Srinivasa also incarnated in the lineage of Bharadwaja. Akasha Maharaja was born to a snake nymph to Sudvarna of Pandava family. Tandonam was his brother. Vasudhanu was also a son of Akasha Raj. On the advice of Agastya sage, Lord Srinivasa divided the kingdom equally to Vasudhanu and Tondanam. Subbaya Shreshti said to Shankarabhat, "Today you take rest. We will chant the divine name of Sripada Srivallabha all throughout the night. Tomorrow is a very sacred day according to the science of astrology. I will narrate the extremely amazing sportive plays of Sripada tomorrow. I will explain how Chintamani and Bilvamangala were brought to Pitakapuram, how Sri Guru showed them mercy, how a village was built as a mark of the strange plays exhibited by Sripada in the fields of Sri Narasimha Varma, how that village became famous by the name Chitrada. I will also explain in detail about the strange and peculiar things to happen in future times, and about the Leelas of Sripada before his final incarnation as Kalki. Having said that, he took me to a cottage nearby. There were 2 mats made of leaves of date tree. 4 dogs of high breed were standing guard to the cottage. The fruits of meditation of Sripada. The Leelas of Sripada are not accomplished by others. They are appealing to be learnt to the heart in a very happy manner. By simply remembering him, heaps of sins amassed from many births will be burnt into ashes.